High Admiral Zixtal of the Galactic Empire stood motionless on the bridge of the Imperial command vessel Eternal Order, his crystalline form refracting the soft blue light of the holographic displays surrounding him. His attention was fixed on a peculiar reading that should have been impossible. "Confirm these readings again," he commanded, his voice resonating with the particular harmonic that indicated deep concern. "What exactly are we looking at?" Senior Analyst Verithy manipulated her control interface, her six-fingered hands dancing across the quantum-linked surfaces. "The readings are consistent, High Admiral. We've detected 3 vessels of unknown configuration approaching the Centauri border." "There?" She hesitated, double-checking her instruments. "They're using some form of propulsion we've never encountered before." The Empire had ruled the known galaxy for 50,000 years. They had cataloged every form of faster-than-light travel ever conceived. Their database contained the technological achievements of over 10,000 species. Yet these vessels, these human ships, were doing something entirely new. "Show me," Zixtal ordered, his crystalline structure shifting to a deeper blue of concentration. The holographic display expanded, showing 3 ships moving through space in a way that defied the Empire's understanding of physics. Instead of the usual energy signatures of antimatter drives or quantum tunneling systems, these vessels seemed to be surfing through space-time itself. "Their energy output is minimal," Verithy reported, her voice carrying the professional tone that masked her amazement. "They're achieving faster-than-light travel while using less power than our civilian transport vessels." The bridge crew, composed of the Empire's finest officers from a dozen different species, watched in silence as the human ships continued their approach. Their movement was almost organic, like fish swooning through water, rather than the rigid, calculated trajectories of Imperial vessels. "Open a communication channel," Zixtal commanded. "Let's see who these beings are who dare to approach Imperial space with such unconventional methods." The communication system hummed to life, and moments later, a face appeared on the main display. The being was clearly biological, with 2 eyes, bilateral symmetry, and what appeared to be artificial coverings over its body. A human. "This is Captain Sarah Martins of the Earth exploration vessel, Curiosity," the human announced, speaking in perfect galactic standard. "We come in peace and with an offer of diplomatic relations." Zixtal's form shifted slightly, expressing surprise at their command of the language. "This is High Admiral Zixtal of the Imperial command vessel Eternal Order. Your presence here is noted, but we must first address your method of arrival. Our sensors indicate you're using an unknown form of propulsion. Explain." Captain Martinez smiled, a gesture that the Empire's cultural database identified as potentially friendly or amused. "We call it the quantum wave drive. Instead of forcing our way through space-time, we found ways to work with its natural fluctuations. It's really quite efficient." "Impossible," Verithy interjected, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. "The energy requirements alone for faster-than-light travel are well established. What you're suggesting violates multiple laws of physics. Or perhaps," Martins responded, still smiling, "it just violates your understanding of those laws. We've found that the universe is far more flexible than most assume. Would you like a demonstration?" Before Zixtal could respond, the 3 human vessels began moving in perfect synchronization, executing maneuvers that should have torn them apart. They weaved through space like dancers, their movements fluid and precise, leaving barely a ripple in the quantum fabric of space-time. "By the First Empire," one of the junior officers whispered, breaking protocol in their astonishment. Zixtal's crystalline form shifted through several colors as he processed what he was seeing. In 50,000 years of Imperial history, no species had ever approached first contact quite like this. Most new civilizations either cowered before Imperial might or attempted to demonstrate their strength through aggression. These humans were doing neither. They were simply showing what they could do, with an almost casual confidence that was both fascinating and disturbing. "Captain Martinez," Zixtal spoke finally, "your demonstration is noted. However, you must understand that the Empire cannot allow unregistered and unverified technology within its borders. Our laws are quite clear on this matter. Of course, Martins replied. We expected as much. That's why we brought our research teams along. We're happy to share our understanding of quantum wave dynamics with your scientists. After all, knowledge should flow freely, shouldn't it? The offer was unprecedented. Most species guarded their technological secrets jealously, especially during first contact. Yet these humans were offering to share their innovations openly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. As Zixtal prepared his response, he couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would change the Empire in ways he couldn't yet imagine. These humans, with their impossible ships and casual disregard for established scientific principles, represented something the Empire hadn't faced in millennia. Genuine surprise. Very well, he decided. You may proceed to the Imperial Science Station in the Proxima system. But be warned, any deviation from your approved course will be considered a hostile act. Understood, Admiral, Martins responded cheerfully. Though I should mention, our approved course might look a bit unusual on your sensors. Quantum surfing isn't exactly a straight-line affair. As the communication ended, Zixtal turned to Verithy. Alert the Science Council. Tell them to prepare for something unprecedented. He paused, watching the human ships resume their impossible dance through space. And Verithy, tell them to be ready to question everything they think they know. The human element. The Imperial Science Station Proxima 1 was the pride of the Empire's research division. Its crystalline spires housed the most advanced laboratories in known space, staffed by the brightest minds from 1,000 worlds. But today, those minds were thoroughly confused. This makes no sense, muttered Chief Researcher Anxvera, their tentacles writhing in agitation as they studied the schematics the humans had provided. Their quantum wave drive appears to be built from commercial parts. And these equations, they're using musical theory to model quantum mechanics. Dr. Elena Chen, the human theoretical physicist leading the technical exchange, smiled at the alien researchers' bewilderment. Sometimes the simplest solutions are hiding in plain sight, she said, pulling up a holographic display of the drive's wave patterns. We discovered that quantum fluctuations follow patterns similar to music. Once we understood that, it was just a matter of building an engine that could play along with the universe's symphony. The assembled Imperial scientists exchanged looks of disbelief. Their own quantum drives were massive constructs of exotic materials, powered by artificial singularities. The human drive before them looked more like a musical instrument than a propulsion system. But where are the quantum containment fields? Demanded Assistant Researcher Urthal. The particle accelerators. The dark matter injectors. We don't need them. Elena explained, bringing up a real-time display of the Curiosity's drive in operation. See these resonance chambers. They're tuned to naturally occurring quantum frequencies. Instead of forcing space-time to bend, we ask it nicely to let us through. High Admiral Zixtal, who had been observing the exchange silently, stepped forward. You're saying you achieve faster than light travel by listening to the universe. That's one way to put it. Elena nodded. Human history is full of examples where scientific breakthroughs came from unexpected connections. One of our scientists was a musician who noticed similarities between Bach's fugues and quantum wave patterns. Everyone thought she was crazy until the first prototype worked. The Admiral's crystalline form shifted through several colors of contemplation. And this is typical of human scientific development. Pretty typical, Elena confirmed. We tend to come at problems from unusual angles. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails spectacularly, but we keep trying new approaches until something clicks. As if to demonstrate her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Verithy's voice came over the communication system. High Admiral, we're detecting a massive quantum storm forming in the Proxima system. Our models indicate it will hit the station in approximately 1 hour. The Imperial scientists burst into action, their movements practiced and precise. Quantum storms were rare but deadly phenomena that could tear apart even the most heavily shielded installations. Begin emergency protocols, Zixtal ordered. Prepare to evacuate all non-essential personnel. Wait, Elena interrupted, studying the storm data with intense interest. Those energy patterns, they're just like a grand crescendo in a symphony. What if instead of running from the storm, we could harmonize with it? The Admiral stared at her. Harmonize? With a quantum storm? The Curiosity's drive isn't just for propulsion, Elena explained, already making calculations. It's essentially a quantum resonance instrument. If we can match the storm's frequency and introduce a countermelody. This is madness, Vera protested. You can't treat a natural disaster like a musical performance. But Elena was already contacting Captain Martinez. Within minutes, the 3 human ships had taken up positions around the station, their quantum drives humming in perfect harmony. As the storm approached, they began to emit precisely calculated quantum frequencies. The Imperial scientists watched in amazement as the approaching storm began to change. Instead of the chaotic maelstrom they expected, the quantum energies began to flow around the station in elegant patterns, like a river diverted by carefully placed stones. Impossible, whispered Urethal, watching the sensor readings. They're conducting the quantum storm like an orchestra. Elena's fingers danced across the control interface, adjusting frequencies and amplitudes. The universe loves harmony, she said, her eyes fixed on the wave patterns. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to stop fighting against it and start dancing with it instead. As the storm passed harmlessly around the station, Zixtal turned to Elena. It seems we have much to learn from humanity, he admitted. Your methods are unorthodox, but clearly effective. Elena smiled. This is just the beginning, Admiral. Wait until you see what happens when we really start getting creative. The Imperial scientists exchanged worried glances. They had a feeling their understanding of the universe was about to get much more complicated and much more interesting. A matter of perspective. The Imperial Grand Council chamber on Proxima 1 had never seen anything quite like this. The curved walls, designed to reflect sound perfectly throughout the space, carried heated debates between the Empire's highest-ranking officials and their unexpected human guests. This is absolutely unprecedented, declared Council Elder Kovacs, their crystalline form pulsing with agitation. The humans have submitted 47 patent applications in the past week alone, each one challenging our fundamental understanding of physics. Captain Martinez stood calmly at the center of the chamber, flanked by Dr. Chen and her team. With respect, Elder Kovacs, we're not challenging physics. We're expanding our collective understanding of it. Isn't that the purpose of science? High Admiral Zixtal, now serving as liaison between humans and the Empire, observed the proceedings with growing fascination. The humans' approach to everything, from technology to diplomatic protocol, seemed to follow the same pattern as their quantum wave drive. Finding harmony in chaos. You misunderstand the gravity of this situation. Council member Urthexi intervened. The Empire's technological standards have maintained peace and order for 50 millennia. We cannot simply throw open the gates to every wild theory that produces results we don't understand. Speaking of results we don't understand, Dr. Chen interjected, bringing up a holographic display. We've been analyzing your quantum containment protocols. Did you know you're using nearly 100 times more energy than necessary? The same principles we use in our drive could revolutionize your entire energy infrastructure. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices, each council member trying to speak over the others. The humans watched this display with barely concealed amusement. Order. Kovacs demanded, sending harmonic resonances through the chamber that quieted the chaos. Dr. Chen, while your intentions may be noble, you must understand that the Empire's technological development follows a carefully planned path. Each innovation is tested, verified, and implemented according to established protocols. And how long do these protocols typically take? Martins asked innocently. The standard verification period for new technologies is 50 years, Kovacs replied proudly. This ensures complete safety and compatibility with existing systems. The humans exchanged glances. 50 years. Martinez echoed. We'd have developed 3 new generations of technology by then. The universe isn't going to wait for bureaucracy to catch up with reality. This is precisely our concern, Rithixi stated. Your species' reckless pace of innovation. The chamber's emergency alert system suddenly blared to life, cutting off the council member mid-sentence. Verthi's voice came through with urgent clarity. Multiple quantum anomalies detected in the Proxima system. They're unlike anything we've ever seen. The holographic displays shifted to show the space around the station. Tiers in spacetime were forming spontaneously, each one threatening to destabilize the delicate balance of the system. The quantum storm we redirected, Elena realized, quickly analyzing the data. It didn't dissipate as we thought. It triggered a cascade effect in the local space-time fabric. The Imperial scientists rushed to their stations, bringing up emergency containment protocols. But their conventional approaches seemed to have no effect on the growing anomalies. Your containment fields aren't working because you're thinking in terms of barriers, Elena explained, already reconfiguring her equipment. These anomalies are like echoes of the original storm. We need to cancel them out like sound waves. That's not in any of our established protocols, Kovacs protested. Then maybe it's time for some new ones, Martins replied. Elena, what do you need? The station's quantum arrays, reconfigured to act as resonance chambers. And she glanced at the Imperial scientists. We'll need your help. You understand this region of space better than we do. We can provide the method, but you need to help us fine-tune it. For a moment, the chamber was silent save for the wail of emergency sirens. Then Zixtel stepped forward. I believe, he said carefully, this is an opportunity to demonstrate the benefits of combining our different approaches. The next few hours were unlike anything the Empire had seen in its 50,000 years. Human intuition and creativity merged with Imperial precision and knowledge. The station's quantum arrays, rebuilt on the fly with hybrid technology, began emitting precisely calculated frequencies that interacted with the anomalies. It's working, Verthi reported, watching the sensors. The anomalies are collapsing, but the pattern they're forming, it's beautiful. Indeed, as the tiers in spacetime healed, they left behind a shimmering display of quantum energy, like an aurora painting the void between stars. Perhaps, Zixtel mused, watching humans and Imperial scientists working side by side. This is what true progress looks like, not a rigid march forward, but a dance between order and chaos, between tradition and innovation. Kovacs's crystalline form shifted through several thoughtful colors before speaking. Captain Martinez, Dr. Chen. The Council will need to seriously reconsider its position on technology verification protocols. It seems the universe itself is telling us it's time for a change. The coming storm. The discovery came from an Imperial deep space monitoring station in the Carina sector. Strange readings that defied conventional analysis. Massive distortions in spacetime that made the recent quantum anomalies look like ripples in a pond. In the newly established Joint Research Center on Proxima 1, Elena Chen studied the data with growing concern. These patterns, they're like nothing we've seen before. It's as if space itself is being torn apart, but on a scale that shouldn't be possible. High Admiral Zixtel and Captain Martinez stood nearby, watching as both human and Imperial scientists worked to understand the phenomenon. In the months since the quantum storm incident, the two civilizations had begun an unprecedented exchange of knowledge and technology. Now that partnership faced its greatest test. The distortions are expanding, Verthi reported, her fingers dancing across multiple control interfaces. At their current rate, they'll reach populated systems within 3 months. Do we know what's causing them? Martins asked, studying the three-dimensional projection of the affected space. That's the disturbing part, Elena replied. These aren't natural formations. The patterns are too regular, too structured. Someone or something is deliberately destabilizing the fabric of space-time. The implications hung heavy in the air. The Empire had enemies, ancient species that had rejected imperial rule and retreated to the galaxy's outer reaches, but none were known to possess technology capable of this level of destruction. "We're detecting something else," one of the imperial scientists announced. "Quantum signatures, similar to our drives, but twisted wrong somehow. Like a corruption of the universal harmony we've been studying." Elena's eyes widened. "They've taken our quantum wave principles and weaponized them. Instead of dancing with space-time, they're forcing it to tear itself apart." "How is this possible?" Zixtal demanded. "The quantum wave technology has barely been shared beyond this station." "We may have been breached," Verthi admitted reluctantly. "Our networks detected unusual access patterns last month, but the security protocols didn't flag them as dangerous because they followed all proper authorization procedures." Martinez laughed grimly. "Let me guess, they followed the rules so perfectly that nobody thought to question them." "This is no time for levity, Captain," Kovacs reprimanded, having joined the emergency session. "If this technology has been stolen and weaponized, then we need to stop it," Elena interrupted. "And we need to do it before those distortions reach inhabited space." "The Imperial fleet," Kovacs began, "won't be enough," Martinez finished. "Conventional weapons and shields will be useless against these distortions. We need a new approach." Elena was already working at her station, pulling up data from their quantum wave research. "The principle is the same as when we redirected the quantum storm, just on a massive scale. If they're using corrupted harmonics to tear space apart, we need to introduce a counter-harmony." "You're suggesting we try to heal space-time?" Verthi asked incredulously. "Not just heal it," Elena replied. "We need to create a resonance cascade that will cancel out their destructive frequencies. But to generate enough power, we'd need every ship in both fleets," Zixtal realized, "modified with quantum wave technology. In less than 3 months," Martinez added. "And we'd need to teach Imperial crews how to operate technology they barely understand." Kovacs's crystalline form pulsed with anxiety. "Impossible. The modification protocols alone would take." "The protocols don't matter anymore," Zixtal cut in, his tone carrying the full weight of his authority. "What matters is survival." "Captain Martinez, Dr. Chen, what do you need from us?" Elena smiled grimly. "Everything. We need your shipyards, your scientists, and most importantly, we need you to trust us. What we're about to attempt breaks about a dozen laws of physics, at least the laws as we understood them until now." "And if we fail?" Kovacs asked quietly. "Then at least we'll fail trying something new," Martinez replied. "Sometimes that's all you can do. Face the impossible and refuse to accept that it can't be beaten." The next weeks saw an unprecedented mobilization. Imperial shipyards, usually bastions of methodical precision, hummed with chaotic energy as human engineers worked alongside their alien counterparts. The quantum wave drive, once a curiosity, was being mass-produced and installed in vessels of both fleets. But even as they worked, the distortions grew. Space itself screamed in protest as ancient enemies twisted the very fabric of reality, turning harmony into discord, creation into destruction. The race against time had begun, and failure meant the end of everything both civilizations had built. Symphony of Stars, the combined fleet of human and imperial vessels, hung in formation at the edge of the Carina sector. 5,000 ships, each modified with quantum wave technology, waited for the signal to begin the most ambitious synchronized maneuver in galactic history. On the bridge of the Eternal Order, now serving as the fleet's command center, High Admiral Zixtal watched the approaching distortion field with all 4 of his eyes. The view was terrifying. Space itself twisted and warped, reality breaking down at the quantum level. "The enemy fleet has been detected," Verthi reported. "They're using the distortions as cover. Hundreds of ships, maybe more. They think they've corrupted our technology. Elena said from her station, where she was making final adjustments to the fleet-wide quantum resonance network. But they don't understand what they stole. They're trying to impose their will on space-time. We're going to show them how to dance with it instead. Captain Martinez, standing beside Sixtel, nodded. All ships report ready. The quantum wave drives are synchronized and awaiting your signal, Doctor. Elena took a deep breath. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. 5,000 ships, acting as one giant quantum resonance chamber, will either heal the fabric of space-time or tear it apart completely. Kovacs finished grimly. The council elder had insisted on being present for what might be the Empire's final stand. That's not going to happen, Martinez said firmly. Elena, begin the sequence. What followed would be remembered in both human and imperial histories as the Symphony of Stars. 5,000 ships, their quantum drives humming in perfect harmony, began to move in precisely calculated patterns. The formation shifted and flowed like a living thing, creating waves of quantum resonance that spread through space. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The enemy fleet emerged from the distortion field, their corrupted drives screaming discord into the void. They fired conventional weapons, but the combined fleet continued its dance, each ship moving in perfect synchronization. Energy readings are building, Verthi reported, her voice tense. The quantum resonance it's spreading through the distortion field. Elena's fingers flew across her controls, adjusting frequencies in real time. The universe wants to be whole, she said, more to herself than anyone else. We just have to remind it how. Suddenly, the first change became visible. Where the fleet's quantum resonance met the enemy's distortion field, space began to heal itself. The process was beautiful and terrifying. Reality reknitting itself in waves of impossible color. They're trying to counter, Verthi called out. Enemy ships are increasing power to their corrupted drives. Let them, Elena said calmly. They're fighting the universe itself now. We're just helping it remember its own song. The enemy fleet's attempts to maintain their distortion field grew increasingly desperate. Their ships began to break formation, their corrupted drives faltering as the combined fleet's harmony overwhelmed their discord. Now, Elena announced, all ships, full resonance. The symphony reached its crescendo. 5,000 quantum drives, human and imperial technology working as one, released a wave of pure harmonic energy. Space itself seemed to sing as the distortion field collapsed, taking the enemy fleet with it. In the aftermath, as both fleets began damage assessment and recovery operations, High Admiral Sixtel turned to Captain Martinez and Dr. Chen. In 50,000 years, he said slowly, the Empire has never seen anything like what happened today. You didn't just save us. You showed us a new way to understand the universe itself. Not new, Elena corrected gently. We just learned to listen to what was always there. The universe has its own music, its own dance. All we had to do was join in. Kovacs, who had watched the entire battle in stunned silence, finally spoke. The Empire will never be the same after this. Our understanding of physics, of reality itself, will grow. Martinez finished. Change isn't always comfortable, but it's how we all move forward. Humans and the Empire, learning from each other, discovering new possibilities together. As the fleet began its journey home, Elena watched the last traces of the healed space-time on her monitors. The patterns reminded her of music notes, dancing across the cosmos. The universe, she realized, had been waiting for this moment, when two civilizations, one built on order and another on innovation, would learn to dance together among the stars. On the main viewer, the combined fleet moved in perfect formation, human and imperial ships side by side. They had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, not through force or rigid adherence to rules, but through harmony with each other and with the universe itself. It was just the beginning of a new age, one where the music of the spheres would play a different tune, and the dance of discovery would continue, eternal as the stars themselves.